Pumla, members of the IMC colleagues, senior officials, members of the media, I would like to first welcome you and thank you for coming for this briefing on the preparations of the Presidential Inauguration, which is scheduled to take place on the 25th of May at Loftus Stadium. South Africa has recently emerged from successful, free and fair national and provincial elections, a process in which all South Africans can take pride in the display of patriotism and allegiance to our Constitution as citizens exercise their democratic right to vote. On the 22nd of May, Parliament will use the first sitting to swear in the members of the 6th Parliament and to elect their presiding officers. Once the MPs are sworn in, they will elect the President, whose inauguration will then take place on Saturday, the 25th of May. The inauguration will be held under the theme, Together Celebrating Democracy, Renewal and Growth for a Better South Africa. Of course, as you know, the 25th of May is Africa Day, where the continent celebrates the formation of the AU, but the OAU before. And this day, Africa also celebrates its unity and unique African identity. This year marks the 25th year of our democracy, so all these things coincide. The universe has aligned all of them. So today we are very pleased that you are here because we would like to just update the nation on the state of readiness for the inauguration. I'll first brief you on who will attend the inauguration. Of course, I'll start by yourselves. Probably you'll be the first to arrive. But the President has invited some heads of state to attend, heads of state and government. And because of the austerity measures that the government is under, he has invited heads of state from the South African Development Community, SADC, and also the chairs of the regional economic communities, and of course the chair of the AU itself, the chair of the AU Commission, and also the Secretary General of the UN. And other countries will be represented by their ambassadors, high commissioners, and members of the diplomatic corps. And then he is also invited 4,500 people from the different sectors of society. I'll mention a few. It's not an exhaustive list that I will mention, but amongst them there will be parliamentarians, the judiciary, ministers, deputy ministers, premiers. There will be business people, there will be academics, there will be Chapter 9 institution leaders, religious leaders, and traditional leaders, and many other people. But we also expect that there will be 32,000 people that will come to the stadium from the public. Some of 22,000 of them will come from just the neighboring provinces, like Limpopo, Mpumalanga, Northwest, and the bulk, obviously, from Gauteng. But as you would remember that in the past, people used to walk to the lawns here at the Union Building to witness the inauguration. But this time, there will be 10,000 people, allowance of 10,000 people who can just walk in like they used to do at the lawns. The venue, as you know, is Loftus Versfeld Stadium instead of the Union Building. And the choice of the venue was determined by a number of factors. I'll just mention a few. One, the cost. Because preparing the amphitheater is more costly than hiring the stadium. But the other important reason is that there is going to be an inclusive program with everyone witnessing everything at the same place at the same time, instead of others being at the amphitheater and others on the lawns. And you'll remember that before, in the past, the president would finish with all the formal ceremony and then go to the lawns to greet the people. This time, everybody will be together at the stadium, and it's an important consideration as well. So, those are some of the reasons why we are going to have this ceremony at the stadium. Now, the stadium will be open from 3 a.m. and the program will be coordinated and co-directed by the Speaker of the Fifth Parliament, Honorable Baleka Mbete, and the Deputy Secretary General of the Majority Party, Ambassador Jessie Dwad. We forget that she's actually Ambassador Jessie Dwad. And the official program will start as soon as the President-elect arrives, and it will commence with an interfaith prayers led by the Chaplain General. And the President-elect will take the oath of office as part of the swearing-in ceremony conducted by the Chief Justice, Mokgeng, and then proceed to sign the swearing-in certificate. Thereafter, he will take up position for the national salute. After that, there will be the national anthem, which will be, in fact, the national anthem will be parallel with the national salute. And then the president will address the nation as the brand new president of the sixth administration. After which there will be a must fly past by the South African Air Force and the SAA. Then after the official program, there will be a cultural program. Then the invited guests will receive inauguration information packages, and they should refer to the aid memoir for details of accreditation, where the accreditation will be and when, and the park and ride facilities. For the people who will walk in, they will be still to be accredited, but they will be accredited at the Afrikaans Woordseen School, popularly known as AFIS. And that accreditation will open from 3 a.m. and will close at 7 a.m. But those who would drive but are going to be walk-ins at the stadium, Then they should drive to the Tshwane Event Center, and then they'll be shuttled to the accreditation at office. And so we encourage people who want to use that facility of walk-in to come early, because we don't know the numbers. And once the capacity of the stadium is filled, then we don't want people disappointed. And then the information pertaining to the closure of roads and all that will be announced in due course. But we will try by all means to minimize the inconvenience of residents and stakeholders and the public in general. There will be facilities for those people with disability. The host broadcaster, SABC, will have the South African Sign Language interpretation on screen during the broadcast. We also will have the sign language interpreters on stage. The stadium has also adequate ramp access for wheelchairs. And then in the provinces, there will be live viewings which will take place, and the arrangements in those places are also the same. So people with disabilities will be able to access. There are things and goods that are prohibited at the stadium: alcohol and drugs, firearms or any weapons, bottles and cans are not allowed at the stadium. Then for the media, members of the media will be transported from the park and ride. The park area will be provided to the media when they collect their accreditation. So you'll get all your information when you collect your accreditation. And there is a media center that has been arranged at the stadium for members of the media, which will provide sound and television feed and other related courtesies. Media-related queries will be handled by Pumla and her team at GCIS. Public viewing information. People are encouraged to go to different public viewing sites across the 9 provinces. The ceremony will be showed live on the sites. A list and addresses of the viewing sites will be distributed, but also will be on the government website, www.gov.za, or Inauguration 2019. The proceedings of the Presidential Inauguration will be live streamed on the government website. Members of the public can follow the Presidential Inauguration also and interact on social media via Twitter at government.za, at South Africa Government News, and Facebook and government.za. The official Presidential Inauguration hashtag is #SA Inauguration 19. More updates can be accessed through a special app that has been developed for the inauguration details, and this will be made available in due course. In conclusion, government would like to encourage all South Africans to be part of this momentous occasion in our country. Those who cannot attend will be able to follow proceedings on television, radio, public viewing areas in all the provinces. And the IMC is ensuring that we will be ready and have a successful inauguration of the 6th of the President of in the 6th Administration. I think that's it. Thank you. If there are any questions, I will give the difficult questions to my colleagues, and I will take the easy ones.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you. We will take question. Juanita, Hitekani, and I think the one next to you. Juanita, you can start. We can't hear.
We'll try one last time. Konita Andrew from the Sunday Times. Minister, you said that there is some cost implications. So is there not an open invitation this time for heads of state? Is there just for SADC? And if you could just tell us a bit more, take us in your confidence over, why is it different this year, and what are the constraints that you're facing? And in terms of BRICS countries, is it only going to be representation from ambassadors? Are there no heads of state from BRICS countries? If you could just clarify that for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hitega?
Thank you. Tekani Magweza from Newsroom Africa. Minister, again, could you please take us into your confidence? How much of a difference in terms of costs is it hosting the inauguration here at the Union buildings as compared to hosting it at Loftus?
Thank you. This is Moluko Mlot from ENCA. Sure.
Very Moluko.
Sure, thanks. Well, I just want to know when you say that you encourage South Africans to be part of this national event, but what would you say to those who are saying, especially given the fact that you are talking about cost containment measures, those who say this is just a frill, why can't the president just be sworn in and then we move on? What is the significance of this inauguration?
Thank you. I think that's all. Minister, you were very clear. There are only 3 questions.
Okay. The presidents that have been invited and heads of government are from the SADC countries, and they are also and the presidents who are chairing the different economic blocs, like ECOWAS, like East Africa, and so on. And the president who is chairing the AU. Those are the heads of state and government that are invited. Now, in terms of what is constraining us, we all know that there is an economic difficulty in this country, and our budget that we are going to spend in this inauguration is more than 100 million less than the previous one. So that's a huge difference between the last inauguration and this one. It's going to be more than 100 million less. So that's the constraint. It's a constraint that everybody knows. So we had to ensure that we don't spend as much as we did in the last inauguration or more even taking into account inflation and everything. So that's it. And then encouraging people to watch. I think this is a day when the country concludes the process of the election. We start with election, we go into parliament, swearing in MPs, and eventually the president takes his oath of office. And that will then usher in the sixth administration. Now, whether we should just have a president taking an oath here in this room or somewhere else and move on, I think for now we think it's important for the nation to just be part of the president coming into office. And that's why we've cut down on the budget, but we still thought there should be an inauguration. And of course, when we encourage all South Africans, others will watch it on TV, live stream, and in different forms. Not everybody will be at the stadium. Was there another question? No, I've explained which president will be here. Thank you.
I'm going to take the last round. I'm going to start with you.
Good morning, Ministers. Alex Mitchley from News 24. I was just wondering, seeing as it's going to be 100 million less, I was wondering if you could maybe just tell us what is the total budget? And then secondly, we speak about, the current economic climate we're under. Is an inauguration a necessity? I mean, is it mandated? Must one do it? Could the money not be better spent elsewhere, given our current climate? Thank you.
Thanks. I think yeah.
Thank you. Francis Luamachati from Progressive Independent News Agency. I know this might be outside this Inter-Ministerial Committee, but when are we likely to have the State of the Nation address? Are we going to have such? Thank you.
Thank you. It's Offenses Timo from SABC TV News. I'd like to know how you came to the choice of Loftus Versfeld as a venue. Is it because of its close proximity, or are there other attributes that make it favorable for the inauguration? Thanks.
Thank you. I think this is a last round of questions and then we close, so I hope there won't be any other question. Gone. Minister, that's the last bit.
The total cost of the inauguration you will get after the inauguration. But I am just saying that it will be less than 100, more than 100 million less. I'm saying that because I can say, nobody can say right now whether it will be 120 million and 1 cent or it will be 110 or so. We will know the final, but it's not going to be any much more than the 120. And last time it was more than 240. So, but you until you have the event, you can't tell to the cent how much it has cost. I think it's a debate that the country can have beyond the inauguration, whether there should be one or whether there shouldn't be. It's a debate that we can have, but at the moment we are briefing you on the arrangements of the inauguration that will take place on the 25th of May. There can be all sorts of debates about where to, do we have it, don't we have it. That's a debate that can take place. But for now, there will be an inauguration, and it will take place on the 25th of May. Loftus is in Pretoria. The capital of this country is the administrative capital of this country is in Pretoria. So it's logical that if there is a facility that can be used in Pretoria where the capital is, it would be better to use that facility. Anything else I left out? No. Date. The date is on. The proposed date for the SONA is 20th June. That's the proposed date for now. Yeah, I think I answered all the questions. I don't see any complaint. I think I did.
Thank you very much, Minister. We've come to the end of this media briefing. We will be able to interact with the media as GCIS to give you whatever updates we have or clarity. And thank you very much, Ministers.
Sorry. Let me just correct something. No, not correct. Add something. We are also inviting former liberation movements, former presidents, and fraternal countries. Thank you. Thank you.